So today we're going to talk about health and fitness, our own journeys, and ask each other questions, encourage each other. Joe, last time, was it encouraging to you?
Very, very. It was a lot
S-
of fun. It was encouraging.
Same
Yeah,
here, man. It was so great. I was
absolutely.
so stoked. And we'll talk through some of our ideals, but like real, like what does this look like? Like for example, the last week we got rid of the old pool table that had been in my in-laws home more than 2 decades and got it off the free thing and please come get it. And the guy showed up and I was like, hey, do you have help? And he's like, oh, I didn't know, whatever. And I was like, so my back still hurts
Mm.
because I carried that thing. And I was like, this wasn't free. Oh, so that's all right. Didn't go out in the estate sale. So that was part of my fitness journey, is figuring out how to deal with that. So what activity, movement, kind of pattern, routine, or workout has been just really enjoyable for you in January?
I don't know if it's been so much enjoyable. Just for me, it's just been keeping myself moving. For our men's group in the fall, they focused on health and fitness, and that's kind of what jump started me back into just keeping my body moving. So I quit drinking anything. I mean anything of like beverage alcohol related back in November. Started running, doing a little bit of lifting. I've dropped 11 pounds. I'm
Wow,
sleeping better and feeling a lot better.
Mm.
So mostly under the conviction that like I've got one body to steward and I want to keep it moving. So it's been cold here. I mean, it's been snowing pretty much since the beginning of January. So I've been on the treadmill. Nothing fun, but it's just I'm keeping going. That's what's enjoyable.
that's awesome, man. Way to go.
Love that.
That's great.
I've been just kind of, December is always a hard one with fitness. It's just like traveling. And so I feel like coming back into January, both from a food standpoint, like what I'm eating, and I'm not on anything like super strict, rigid, but just really trying to. I'm not quite as brave as you, Kurt, to go no drinking at all. But I've been trying to do
Dry
like,
2025.
man, that's brave. I love it. Um, I've been trying to do a lot like more of just like, hey, I'll have a drink or two on the weekends, or if there's a special event, maybe. But throughout the week, and just kind of regular eating a lot, really clean, eating very clean, and then just kind of so that's been good. I felt a lot better throughout January with that, and then just getting into the CrossFit gym really consistently the last 3 or 4 weeks, and um, my wife just said that it was her removing cookies from my diet as well that helped.
Give
Um,
credit where credit is due.
Credit is
Yeah.
due. Gosh. But and then just yeah, getting into the CrossFit gym, and I've been really pretty really consistent with that these last couple of weeks. 3 to 4 times a week, 6:15 a.m.
Hmm.
hitting the CrossFit gym pretty hard, and that's been I'm feeling already. I'm just feeling so much better. I'm sleeping better. I just when I have that consistency. Um, it really I notice a big difference. If I miss 3 or 4 days here or there, it just that is enough to like really make a difference for me. So anyway, I'm enjoying that.
Hmm.
That's great. Speaking of CrossFit, Dave, you want to chime in? You're still muted. There you are, I think. Nope. We have so canceled your we've so canceled your echo that we can't even hear you at all. That's all right. I'll interpret. As Dave figures out, I will say it's fun to see his progression. I don't have any CrossFit experience in terms of going to a box and doing those group workouts, but a lot of the same movements have done in my own or other gyms. And so the to see the progression, progressive overload, and his enjoyment, obviously fatigue, like man, You just to show up. You don't just be like, I wonder if I feel like it today. You will not feel like it. Probably the same with the treadmill. I don't know, Dave. I blame Lord Mahomes over here for.
There it is. There it is.
Lord Mahomes.
Lord Mahomes has not been good for my waistline or my workout routine because it keeps me celebrating, and that's hard.
Didn't I text after, like, I had a meeting during the AFC Championship? I'm a Bills fan, so I had a meeting during the AFC Championship. He didn't text me at all, and then I was like, watch the highlights. My kids were like, hey, Dad, we got to do this. I'm like, just let me watch 15 minutes of highlights. So I just watched it on the whatever YouTube, and I got done, and I was like, well, gave me back a lot of my time the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
I'm sorry you're overloaded right now.
No, it's okay. It's a cross that I'm willing to bear. I think one of the in thinking of my workout routine in January, it's one thing that I did was we kind of have a little makeshift home gym that we put in our storage room because my boys are getting old enough where they're starting to lift in school, and so they want to lift, at home or whatever. And so we put that in a bunch of used equipment last year. But it was kind of a dank storage room workout area. And so one of my Christmas gifts this year was Jess bought me some flags. Like she bought me a KU Jayhawks flag and a Kansas City Chiefs flag and some of those things. So I was like, and a flagpole. So I'm, flying them outside. But then when they're not being used outside, we decided to like hang them up around the gym, so it looks a little, or concrete walls are now covered with cool flags, and put some like, some of the exercise mats down underneath the equipment and make it look a little bit nicer. You want to be down there. Mm-hmm. And so we go down there together in the mornings often, not every day, but as much as we can, and do some, dumbbell workouts or sort of exercises, body weight exercises generally down there together. And listen to a podcast that we enjoy, which is usually something silly called Second Date Update. It's about people who got ghosted from the person they took out on a date. And so they call this radio program to see if they can help them get a second date with that person.
No way.
Gets them on the phone, and then you get to hear all the hilarious reasons why they didn't get a call back. Most people are awesome. Totally clueless. So anyway, that's just an enjoyable way while we're doing things sometimes that are sore, our bodies are sore or we don't want to get up. It's kind of a way to get us down there in a space that's a little more enjoyable and have fun while we're working out together. So that's what we're doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Way to get all your Kansas sports teams mentioned somehow.
Yeah, right.
Cut that part from the video, please.
Ridiculous.
It's hard to work out when our nights are just full of celebrations and our mornings are full of parades. All right, Dave is here in the flesh. We see him. We hear him. Working. He actually went away to his CrossFit box, got a WOD in, and now he's back. So tell us about it.
Yeah. No, I started doing CrossFit in October. So one of our elders and his wife own the CrossFit gym here in our town. And for Pastor Appreciation Month, they gave me a free membership. And I was like, boy, that's a great gift. Thanks a lot. And but it turned out that it was a great gift. I just didn't realize it at the time.
Oh, my goodness.
So I've been doing that. And then I got my wife to start doing it with me. And that, I think, has been the big thing that has kept me going is we get up now at 5 together. We do an hour of like Bible reading and stuff, and then get ready. And we go at 6 to 7. We do it mostly 4 days a week. We missed one day this week. But we've been doing 4 days a week pretty consistently. And it's been a great experience. Good for us to have that consistency together. And I PR'd yesterday on my deadlift. So that was exciting.
Saw that.
And something I never would have, like that amount of weight. I couldn't even imagine a few months ago that I could do something like that. So the coaches at this gym are just fantastic. And and they really do a great job of helping newbies like us feel like we can do what the advanced and experienced athletes can do. And so yeah, the 6 a.m. class also is a really just encouraging community of people, and so we're starting to build friendships with people outside the church, and so that's been awesome. A lot of huge benefits beyond fitness, but fitness obviously is a big piece of that.
Dude,
Way
I
to
love
go.
that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so proud of you. It's awesome. And
It's been fun.
It seems to be way more enjoyable than just like, all right, I'm gonna start running.
Yeah, I've done that multiple times and quit. Right, and part of my resist. I mean, they've owned this gym for a long time, and it took them years to get me into it. Part of which was because I'm more of an introvert, and so the prospect of being around people while working out, it's like one more output, right, of energy. And with church ministry, I was outputting as much as I thought I could. But it's the opposite. Like being there around people is actually life-giving in that environment. I'm not the pastor in that environment. I'm just another guy. And that's actually really fun.
Yeah.
And they all know I'm a pastor, but they don't treat me like that at all. Like they're not watching what they say. They're not, they're just being real people, and that's been fun. And
love it.
I've loved it.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that. I resonate with so much of that. I've been at my gym for maybe 10 years now, and it's just so many of those same things I resonate with. I'm just another person there. They know what I do. I've been able to build had great gospel conversations with people. People have come to the church through that. So like it's been it's just a really life-giving source outside of just like the encouragement of working out and like the consistency and the camaraderie of the gym. The CrossFit gym's got that figured out. Like you feel a part of something, and it's really significant.
Which is really
They've
cool.
got something dialed in that like I think churches could learn from when it comes to that community aspect. I don't know. I haven't yet put my finger on exactly what it is, but the people who are there feel like they belong, right? And there's a community, and they're engaged together. And yeah, it's just somehow if we could replicate that in our small groups and in our just the community that we have at the church. There's a camaraderie there that goes beyond just working out. There's true, authentic friendships that have blossomed out of that, which is cool.
That's great, man.
I account it to suffering together.
You're probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
something
I
to
think
that.
there's something there when like a community group goes through a loss or grief. Not to get too deep right away, but there's there's a lot of bonds that are formed in suffering. And I've experienced like when you're going through a workout through a Metcon or a WOD where you're just like dying, and then you get to the end of it together and you celebrate that together. That's something that sparks deep relationships. So anyway,
Yeah, no, you're right. The guy I was lifting with yesterday is he's a worship pastor in town at a different church, and he joined about a month before I did. So we're pretty similar with like what we can do. Like a workout 2 weeks ago, he was like 5 pounds more than me, and I was trying to get to him, and he beat me by 5 pounds. But this time we were lifting together, and we both PR'd on the same weight at the same time.
There
and
you
it was
go.
like brotherhood, like, yeah, we did this together. So it was great.
awesome.
This is so cool.
Love it.
Love it. This is, what's the one scripture in the New Testament on competition is outdo one another in showing honor, right? And so, like, I would imagine there at the gym, just not a normal gym, right? You're not trying to be seen or known, but just put in your very best. You're competing with yourself, your own PRs, your own previous, but you're that camaraderie and encourage each other. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
At our gym this past week, just on that note, like we did this crazy Metcon that was pretty brutal. Like I almost passed out. I'm not joking. Wow. It was probably took us about 20, 25 minutes, but there was a new guy at the gym who had been there about a week, and everyone else was done with the Metcon already. Like we had finished it up, and everyone's just around this dude cheering him on to finish it. And it was like, There was just like that beautiful moment of like what you're saying, like no one was looking at who got done first. Although we were, there's a good, healthy competitor, but we were just like, you can finish it, you can do it. And everyone was, 20 people around this dude cheering him on. And he was just so encouraged by that. So anyway, I love that aspect.
Yeah, we just had a new guy join, and every little benchmark for him is a huge success, right? Because he's not been focusing on fitness, and he's going through a divorce and trying to get his life back on track. And so he joined the gym, and so you can tell just words of encouragement. He just lights up, right? Like when he does something he didn't think he could do, and you encourage him. It's been great. So there's just that. And I think maybe that's part of, what we in the church could learn from is that like encouraging each other in all things, like what we say is positive. There's the lack of that judgmental comparison, me versus you element. It's hey, we're all trying to take that next step forward in our fitness in the gym. In the church, it should be we're all taking the next step towards Jesus, and we're going to cheer each other on. And maybe we need some coaching, some good prodding, but at the end of the day, I'm going to encourage you forward, and I'm going to love you forward. And oftentimes it's the opposite, right? And to find it in a gym is mind blowing to me, but it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So here's my takeaway from this conversation so far.
It's
that we need to repent from NFL fandom, which is belittling, antagonistic, sinful, right?
Yeah, gambling.
And join a CrossFit gym.
Tell me you're a CrossFitter without telling me you're a CrossFitter. Oh, you can't. You can't.
Oh, you can't.
No,
We will talk. We will talk about it.
It's great. Well, the rest of us are like, feeling
whatever.
great. So, what fathers? I think we're all dads. Fathers, what health and fitness habits do you long for, or even have you seen your kids adopt? Maybe through doing with. Or modeling them seeing your activity. But what specific things do you long for them to adopt and establish in their lives?
I think the thing that is most pressing for me right now, and this is an easy answer, but it's the season we're in, is to try and instill and demonstrate the value of doing even the little things in the off season. Like there is no off season in that sense of like, don't wait till the moment you've got to do something to try to get ready for that moment that that thing needs to be done. You can't. And that's, so especially with my boys right now, as they're, in high school and get ready to enter high school, it's just like, it's so easy for them to come home and just either plug into the Xbox or just zone out on a phone. And, some of the distractions maybe we didn't have when we were kids, trying to have patience with that, but also being like, hey, I understand you need to have some downtime, but like be wise in how you're, numbering your days, so to speak. Be ready. Like, I'm not trying to be a drill sergeant, but you know what I'm saying? Like just trying to help them see.
Yeah.
If you want to be great my boys are into soccer and basketball right now. So it's like, hey, you're not playing soccer right now. So like be doing something though. Always be doing something. And just having that be the reflex. That's the thing that I'm working on right now.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that. I think for me with, I've got 3 middle schoolers and a high schooler right now, doing basketball and swim primarily, and then soccer is a big one, and then volleyball. So, but I think one of the things I've been thinking through lately with them is that to not be afraid. I want to instill in them just I don't know how to say it, not being afraid of doing something hard, and kind of the mind over physical, like the mental fortitude. Because I've seen how that over the years has played into so much of my life. That working out, I do kind of long distance cycling, and I do a lot of that throughout the warmer months of the years of the year. But I think there's just something really valuable that physical activity can bring into even our spiritual and emotional life, where we're not afraid of doing something hard. And obviously,
Yeah.
for us as Christians, we know that Christ is the motivator and the empower for all of that. But there's something very visceral that kind of clicks into place that ties into our spiritual lives. And so it's hard because my kids are similar in some ways. Like they don't want to do the hard thing. So little by little, we're working through like, okay, endurance, like consistency, doing it when you don't feel like it, putting your head in the game and staying focused. And so we haven't been doing a ton of things regularly to start doing that, but we're starting to, and we've been doing a few things. My one daughter just started, she's in middle school, and she started on her own accord coming home from school and working out for like 30-40 minutes. And so I helped her, like I wrote up some WODs, some daily things that she could do in the basement, and she's doing that. She's just watching random yoga videos or power yoga videos and doing those things on YouTube and whatever. And just on her own accord, I haven't no, hey, you should do this. She just started doing it. So I was really proud of her for that, and wanting to see that going. So we're working on buying a rower as a family, a row machine. We're not there yet. The budget's got to come into place, but once we get, I think that'll be really good for our kids to get a rower, so that on the colder days of the month or colder seasons, we can do that consistently. And I think that's a really good workout for them. So anyway, that's
awesome.
what I'm thinking there.
So good.
So my kids are a little older. I've got two of them that are already out of the house. And they actually, I think Shannon and I did a really good job when they were little of keeping them active. My three oldest are all athletes. My daughter runs cross country. She's going into her senior year next year. But it was actually my oldest son who kind of challenged me to get back into moving my body a little bit. In the fall, every year we do something called the Turkey Bowl, which is just a flag football tournament. And the last couple of years he's been playing, and he kind of called me out. He said, "Dad, when I started playing, you started reffing." And he was like, "You're afraid that I'm going to beat you." And he's not wrong. But it kind of challenged me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I need to, I did this at one point and now I'm not, I need to get back into it. So yeah, my kids I think they've adopted what we used to do. And I've just been asking the question, why are we not doing that anymore? So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for us, there's two things. I've done a really good job of discipling my kids into loving food. I'm a foodie. I love cooking. And so they are like, we joke that if they ever get boyfriend, or when they get boyfriends, they better have good jobs, because steak dinner will be like the benchmark for the first date. Like no fast food. They want gourmet right off the bat, which I'm very proud of. But I realize I need to do a better job of coaching them in fitness. Enjoying food is great, but that can also lead to some other not so great things. And part of with my girls, I've got a almost 15-year-old, almost 12-year-old, and both of them have had really significant health struggles. We're treating my almost 15-year-old for scoliosis right now. So she's in a back brace, like a torso brace, for about 16 hours a day. And she's got some pretty regimented physical therapy exercises she has to do. And then my younger one, when she was 5, broke her femur, and it was because of a pediatric bone cyst that is reoccurring. So she's had, I think, 6 surgeries since she was 5 on her leg, and so she's also done a lot of physical therapy. And so that's been a lot of their fitness journey, is just keeping up with daily routines of physical therapy exercises. So just this year, trying to get them into looking at fitness beyond like what's prescribed by the doctor.
Required.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and to get to the point where they enjoy it, because one of the things we homeschool our kids, and through a charter school in town that's a homeschool charter school hybrid, and they offered a class partnered with the CrossFit gym once a week for the kids to be able to do that for a PE class. And they've gone 3 weeks, and the first week, man, I've never seen my younger daughter as like frustrated as she was when she came home. She absolutely hated it. Week 3, she still like dreads going, but now is coming home more positive. And so I'm hoping that we can start seeing that progression of, like with me, I always hated working out, I don't enjoy sweating. Like that's just not me. Right. But I'm starting to enjoy that more, and I'm starting to miss it when I don't do it. And I'm hoping to see that in my kids beyond, like I said, their required, exercises and physical therapy that they have to do. And that's been a struggle because they spend so much time doing these exercises every day. So yeah, it's a balance there, I think, that we've got to find. We're getting there.
It's awesome. Way to go. I love that you're challenging your kids and they're encouraging you, and Kurt's oldest son is challenging him, like not shaming, but just privately going, "Hey dad, I think you can participate here." It's really good.
Yeah.
We have 2 high schoolers, 2 preschoolers. Make this quick. Our one daughter, favorite daughter, does theater and dance, singing, and it's very physically demanding. And so she, about 3 years ago, began training more intentionally, like off-season style, and she trains her voice and she trains her strength and so forth. And so we started recently doing more these flow, I don't know if you'd call it yoga, but specific strengthening, stretching routines that she'll do. And one is like, I'll take the little boys, like, Mom, you got to do this. And so Kari's been doing that with her. My mom's here visiting. I'm sure they'll do it with her. My mom actually is very active, now in her 70s. We're celebrating her birthday in her late 70s. And she has a rower. I have dibs on that. I was like, when you stop, I'm taking that concept too. But it's just so fun to see them enjoy that. It's totally different. My kids are not into the sports that I all did. Well, my 2 youngest are, but the 2 oldest are. And then Dutch, as a senior in high school, joined the wrestling team. He loves it. He either makes it to the 3rd round with great cardio, scoring a lot of points and wins, or he gets pinned in 30 seconds, right? I mean, just cradled, 6'2", 157, cut down thanks to the norovirus recently. And those guys are easier to wrestle. So he was 4-2 at the tournament on Saturday. So it was super cool. And it's fun to see him exert himself, because 6 years ago, we were like, what do we do to get him away from just reading books or on a screen? And so I started teaching this PE class on Mondays at this co-op. And he's now my assistant. He's like the best at it. He's like, let's do tag. And I was like, well, there's other games too. But it's just fun to see him exert himself. I certainly can't wrestle him or an arm wrestling. I beat him the last time we did it. I was like, I'm done. I'm retired. And it's just so fun. And then the little boys, they capture that. So we're at a wrestling meet, and they're just wrestling, and they're just sweaty, and everyone's like, oh, that's so neat, at the wrestling meet. I was like, they do this everywhere. If you went to the dentist, if you went to the post office, if you went, it's all they do, these little squirrels. So it's just really fun. They love being active. And I just want to be, active. I'll be at least 60 when my youngest turns 18. So I just want to be able to keep up. Right. And obviously coach them and ref if needed. But this is really cool, man. This is encouraging. Is there anything that you need encouragement from one another to follow through, whether you're experiencing, something that's keeping you from wanting to go to those workouts, an injury? We can encourage. You want to try something new. I think in 2025, I might try a CrossFit gym. We'll see.
Careful, Jeff.
I did not promise.
Careful, because once you're in, it's hard to get back out.
I got 2 new kettlebells. I got 4 now, but I got 2 new kettlebells. I got a whole setup over here. My favorite thing is running. I try to get everything back so I can run again, and it's working. But I cannot. I don't know. every Strava
Okay.
segment, every week a Strava segment gets tagged and like taken from me. And I was like, goodbye, old friend. I'll never get that back. That's fine. That's from a decade ago. Like I'm not, but that's just like I won the Masters 5K division, whatever, over 40 at the local parade here. I hadn't run it in a few years. I hadn't done any events in my 40s, just because not good for kids, whatever. And he and I ran. I beat him, and he's on the cross country team. And he's like, "Dad, you need to do this every year." I was like, "Well, you need to join me." And so
Yeah.
he signed up with me to do the Cascade Lakes Relay, which is like the coolest thing ever. You run from near Crater Lake to my hometown in Bend.
Oh, that's cool.
Hood to Coast is the most famous of ones out here. It's lame. This one is awesome. So I'm super excited about that. And
Jeff,
so I was
I've
like,
never heard of that run. I've obviously know of Hood to Coast. That's what everyone in the Northwest knows about. But that sounds like a great run.
it's great. You end at 3,500 feet. That's the lowest elevation.
Wow.
So I told him, I was like, you can't just, go from wrestling to this. Like you have to train. I was like, more than you trained for cross country. Like I'll run with you, but you got to do it. So, so I guess that's one of his goals and my goals. So
Yeah.
That's
enough
awesome.
of me. Any parting words about where the time constraints, injury, challenge, motivation, someone that you want to train with?
I think for me the encouragement I continue to need is just when I get busy, this is one of the first things that gets cut from my schedule. And I know I shouldn't do it, but I think there's times where it has to happen, but I'm too quick sometimes to be like, oh yeah, I can meet with you at 6:30 in the morning. And I'm like, well, that means I won't get a workout in that day. I'll get it the next day. And then it's like, well, maybe, but especially as the weather starts breaking here, I haven't got hardly any riding in January just because the weather's been a little bit abnormally cold here in Columbus. But if it gets above 35 degrees, I'm good to go biking, and the roads are clear, which they are now. So hopefully this weekend I'll get out. But I want to be able to bike several times a week and then hit the CrossFit gym 3 to 4 times a week. And I just need to kind of prioritize that in my schedule, which is just hard for me because I like to please people. I think I like to, I don't know. It's just hard to balance that too sometimes, honestly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do multi-sport, and so I mentioned that to my staff, and somebody who's new said that she and her husband did their first triathlon 2 years ago. And so we started talking about it, and long story short, the whole staff agreed we're all going to do this triathlon in the summer. So there's some built-in accountability there, and I've got folks in the church
that's
that have
awesome.
they're tracking me on Strava, and I had a putting the tree away injury where I strained my groin over Christmas break and didn't do anything for a week. And I had multiple people reaching out and saying, "Hey, what's going on? How are you doing?" I was like, "Hey, I'm just hurt. I'm taking it easy." But I think setting that goal for me has been actually having that goal set for me has been good accountability.
That's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
What distance are you all going? The same?
It's a sprint level.
It's a
So
sprint.
it's like a 750 open water, swim 15 miles on the bike, and a 5K.
Excellent. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's great, man. Way to go.
Yeah.
And you have some experience that you can lend to them as they're training, maybe overtraining in some things, undertraining, and
Yeah.
it's great.
I've just appreciated the encouragement on Strava from you guys. You guys are really faithful at giving me a thumbs up when I post the workouts. That's been a good routine of I'll post my numbers in the CrossFit app, and then I'll post it on Strava just to let people know I'm still going. And you guys have been great, just cheering me on, and so keep that up. That's been a huge motivator to keep going.
Yeah.
Strava or it didn't happen, but specifically, like your workouts, or you're producing serotonin in your intestines, right? You're getting endorphins sometimes, obviously your daughter and wife are hugging you, oxytocin, but that dopamine hit it's short lived, but it's like, hey, like we're encouraging each other. And that's what we need. Like, you know, we're all doing different stuff. I love when we created the things like, is this just for runners? Like, no, I mean, whatever you're going to do, man. I mean, just stand up paddleboard. I'm like doing a whole thing, you know?
Yeah.
But
I felt bad because I was the one that kind of blew that up. I was like, wait, is this just for running? I'm out.
it's good. It's good. We re-clarified, and I think even just the challenge on the club is time or distance or whatever. And there's some guys, you know, Tim Olson's putting in, I've never met him, but he's putting in some big work towards a marathon, which is really great. I mean, I remember training for a marathon. I remember it was just such an enjoyable time. So fragile, but I remember such an enjoyable time. So it's fun to see that. Casey, do you have any parting words during this tension-filled time as you're awaiting the arrival of the kingdom of the Chiefs?
Stop.
Tension. There's no tension. He's as relaxed.
Also,
as he
Casey
can be.
ran. I don't know if you guys know this. This fall, Casey was like, "Hey, I'm going to train for a marathon." I was like, "Oh, that's great. I could coach you, give you." And then that weekend, he ran 24 miles in 24 hours, and I was like, "I mean, there's no correction." It's like, why? So,
I wasn't training for a marathon. I think I know
you weren't training. You told me you wanted to, and then the next thing you like ran it.
I just did it. Yeah. And it was funny because I woke up strangely. We had gone out on a double date with Andy Adkison and his wife, our lead pastor, the night before. And when I drink alcohol late at night, I wake up early the next day. Like I just got to go to the bathroom. And once I'm awake, I can't go to sleep. And so I woke up at like 2:30 that day after going to bed late and was like, I went to the bathroom and I was like, I'm just going to start running at 3:00. And I ran every hour, 1 mile on the hour, every hour until the next morning. And I surprisingly didn't get hurt and was able to run a couple of those miles with my family. They went and ran at the high school track with me and ran a couple more miles in the evening with my son. And I think doing something like that, again, I think they were asking me late in the day, was like, why are you doing this, Dad? And I was like, I'm just doing it to see if I could do it. And they wanted to do it with me. So that was fun. Like, I'd like to do something like that again. Maybe you guys can help me think of something a little less crazy. And, but yeah, doing something like that and being a part of it.
Distance triathlon.
Yeah. Could be fun. I mean, yeah, I'm encouraged by you guys. Yeah. And I love doing this. I'm looking forward. I'm with you, Joe. When the weather breaks, to get back outside. I mean, I love my little basement home gym thing, but just being outside does something for me. I feel like the Lord speaks to me sometimes when I'm just out in nature, especially when I'm exerting my body outside. Not to mention I do it when I'm stressed, and that helps too. So looking forward to that.
Awesome. Guys, I want to keep going. I know that your time is precious, and I wondered if I could pray for us, but it is just the encouragement of going the same direction, even if we're not doing the same thing. It just means so much to me.